Hi, welcome to Inside the Minds of Authors, the interview show dedicated to get us up close and personal on what drives authors, where they get their ideas from, and the things that keep them going. I'm DC Gomez, an indie author, and come and join me in these fun conversations.
Hi, my name is Faye James, is my pen name. I am Jordan High, and I wrote the book Alice in Underville. Today I'm going to read from you Chapter 2, The Pool of Bunny Tears. With my gun drawn, I walk in. You can't be too careful these days. After opening the door, I slowly and quietly walk down the short hallway to my office. My blood is pumping with a little fear. Many questions rush through my head. Who could be in my home? How did they get in without damaging the lock? Before my trigger finger gets too happy, I ease the grip on my weapon. It's just a harmless dame. She was like an angel standing in front of my desk, cooling herself with a feather fan, dressed in all white from head to toe. Her fur coat and hat looked so rich that it must have cost someone, not her, a potload of money. Legs so long they almost went through the floor. She slowly turns around, revealing skin so iridescent that it almost blends into her white satin dress. She clasps her fan closed, revealing her full face. The only thing of color on her entire body was her lips and cheeks, cherry red. For a moment, I assumed she was glistening until I looked closer. She is crying. Suddenly, I yelp and jump. Something runs across my foot, nearly scaring me to death. I take a breath when I see a little mouse run behind me out the door. I don't think my body can take any more thrills today. How did you get in here? I ask with my guard still up and my gun still in my hand. She doesn't answer. She just glares at my gun. She diverts her attention and walks over to the chair in front of my desk. She gracefully sits herself down. Without looking in my direction, she opens her mouth and a smooth, seductive voice oozes out. You don't remember me? The confused and hesitant look on my face probably says it all. Sadly, I don't remember her. I shake my head no. As I holster my gun, she places her white purse on her lap and begins rummaging through it. I was afraid of that. Still trying to figure out how and why she was sitting in my office, I watched as she pulls out a long cigarette with her long suede gloves. Leaning over my desk, I grab the lighter next to my ashtray and replace it with my hat. The light from the fire dances in her eyes as she inhales the smoke deeply. The office is silent for some time. While I place my coat on the chair, she removes the cigarette from her lips, blows out a concentrated puff of smoke, crosses her legs and sits back in her chair. I said too. I hired you yesterday to find my husband. I heard you got into an accident. News around town travels fast. The velvety voice fills the air. I just nod. I still need your help. Do you remember anything? What do you say to a woman who is hell-bent on something? She broke into my office and practically demands my help again. I walk into the other side of the desk and sit down in my wooden chair. There are no files on my desk, which means my assistant, Chester, has cleaned up, or someone doesn't want me to see this case. Why don't you fill me in on the details? I lean back and lace my fingers over my stomach. I admit she intrigues me. I'm anxious to hear what she has to say. She hides a grin out of the corner of her cherry lips and speaks again. My husband still hasn't come home. I need you to find him. I heard this sap story before. The husband is probably just stepping out. Case closed. I wonder if I thought that this was the first time. I might have solved the case and ended it at the UPD with my head bashed in. She continued to speak, but I only caught bits and pieces of her story. My head was still pounding. I grew up with nothing in a small town in Texas. That's where I met my husband. He means everything to me. He swept me off my feet and brought me here to Underville. You know what that's like, don't you, detective? Being swept off your feet in love? Her cute, teary eyes looking up at me in sincerity pulls me out of my thoughts and back to the conversation. I have only been with one man, Jack. I don't think of it as love, just something to occupy my time on occasion. What we have is really just some harmless flirtation. I don't know what it's like being in love, but I don't want her to know that. A girl has to keep some mystery to herself, you know. Instead, I just give her another nod. She continues. He is my light, detective. You must find him. He's probably just stepping out on you. I didn't mean to say it aloud. I think the concussion is making my lips loose. She doesn't take kindly to my remark. My turtle would never step out on me. As soon as the name releases from her lips, I sit up in my chair. I realize why I was probably knocked out. If she was the wife of who I think, then this is a huge case. Turtle? The Turtle? Mr. Magnus Turtle of Turtle Financial? I try desperately to contain my excitement. He's missing? Have you talked to the cops? Of course, I was covering my bases, but she was not amused. We talked about all this yesterday. I can see she is getting impatient with me, so I sit back in my chair. I apologize for my behavior. I'm worried, detective. She wiped another tear from her eye. I got the buzz from some cops looking for him, but they were as shady as weasels. They won't do anything. For all I know, they might be the reason he is gone. More tears fall from her eyes. I pull a hanky out of my coat pocket and hand it to her. She thankfully takes it and dabs her mascara out of her eyes. I need you to find him, Miss Blake. I hear that you're the best detective in Underville. If anyone can find my husband, you can. You are the only one I can trust. You might not remember, but I agreed to pay you handsomely. Beautiful words to my ears. Finally, a paying case. She places my handkerchief on the desk. Will you find him for me? I open my top drawer. My eyes widen at the sight of the stack of money sitting in the top drawer. Why didn't I put it in the safe? I gently pushed it to the side and pulled out a notepad and pen. Where did you last see him? I ask. Most people would take a second to think about the question. Not this dame. She doesn't even hesitate. Maybe it is because she already went through this interview. 2 nights ago at the Duchess, we had dinner. Afterwards, I went home. He stayed for brandy with the boys. By boys, I figure she meant the bankers who work for him. I'm still suspicious, though. I continue to ask more questions. Does Mr. Turtle have any enemies? People that would want to bring him harm? I ask as I write notes. I notice the tears cease. Of course. He is the richest man in Underville. The kingpins from all the major mob families have been trying to get into his pockets for a while now, but my turtle is no pushover. As the questions upset her, she gathers her things and stands up. It's clear that she is done with answering my questions. More suspicions. I'm sure you have everything you need for your investigation. If you have any more questions, ring my estate. Gryphon will my butler. He will assist you. Now, if you will excuse me, I am late for a very important date. She nods and turns to walk out the office. Before she reaches the door, I quickly ask the most important question, the question I should have asked first. What's your name, miss? She gently looks over her shoulder and bats her eyes. White, Bunny White. Then, without another word, she disappears into the darkness of the hall. Strange, though, using her maiden name. If she really cares for her husband, why doesn't she take his name? Are they really married? And what date could be more important than finding her missing husband? As the thought passed through my head, another voice graces my doorway. Chester, my assistant. Who was that? He asks, almost tripping over his own feet, looking behind him with a goofy grin on his face. She's a mystery, Chester. Chestershire has been my assistant for almost a year now. He's pretty smart for a young man of 21, but not so bright. I guess that is what you get for prep school graduate. Even though he is only a few years younger than me, I have more wisdom. However, he is loyal, very loyal, maybe even too loyal. His infatuation with me is borderline unhealthy, but it comes in handy. He is never where I want him, but always where I need him. Late again, I see. Did you get the morning paper? He places the soaking wet newspaper on my desk. We both stare at it for a brief moment. I look up at him in confusion. It's not raining, so I wanted to know why it was wet. I might have accidentally tripped in a puddle outside, he said, flashing his pearly whites. That's Chester, clumsy as a dodo bird, but smart as a whip. That's right, book smart. I remember when I first met this trust fund kid. It was a case. His parents were murdered. He wanted the truth so bad, just as bad as I did. So I let him tag along. He even helped me solve the case, a true asset. Chester, who was obsessed with murder and puzzles, followed me like a lost puppy during a case, and he has been following me ever since. Of course, being broke as I am, I don't pay him much, but he is happy to work for me and the experience. I don't give him enough credit as I should. I think of it as keeping him on his toes. So is that a case? He says as he put his things away in his tiny desk that's perched up against the wall. He turns around and adjusts his powder blue bow tie in the mirror on the wall. As he looks at me through it, I tell him about Bunny as he walks into the kitchen to brew coffee. Of course, he is just as intrigued as I am. Want me to call my contact at the bank? Yeah, do that. And I will head over to the Duchess later to see if I can find any info. Plus, full of background on Bunny White from Texas. I got a funny feeling about her. I turn to face Chester. By the way, where did you go last night? I point to the bruise forming at my hairline. Chester just shrugged. You just told me that you had some business to take care of. You wouldn't tell me. I didn't tell him? Why would I not tell him? Chester and I were pretty close. We both lost parents to murder, and we both have a love for the job. So we got this strange yet comfortable connection there, you see. I usually tell him everything. Must have been something really top secret. Well, I spent the night in the slammer, I tell him. He doesn't look too surprised. Why would he? He knows I love a good fight. I just smile and shake my head. I stand and draw a big long stretch. While you ring your buddies at the bank, I think I'll catch some winks. I'm beat. Those jail cells aren't as comfortable as you would think. I walk into my bedroom. I feel I get more work done having my office in my home. Plus, it's cheaper that way. As I pour me a jigger of my favorite brandy from the bottle on my nightstand, I glance at my father's shotgun mounted on the wall over the cold fireplace. Memories of my father flood back to me. I smile. With a tear in my eye, I shoot back the caramel booze. The burning liquid is smoother than velvet. I kick off my shoes and I lay my body down on top of my messy bed, covered in papers and case files. Like I said, I get my best work done at home. Within minutes, I wander off to Wonderland.
Hi, everybody. That was officially amazing. You have me at the edge of my seat. So welcome, everybody, to Inside the Minds of Authors. We have the fabulous author, Miss Faye James.
Thank you.
That's very detective-like.
Thanks. Thanks. That means a lot.
I had this moment, I was like, is she going to question me? Wait, I'm asking the question, so let's just slow down. So, you just gave us an amazing reading.
Thank you.
In case you're wondering, like, is chapter 2? I was like, what happened to 1? I want to know more. And then you're like, so she went to bed. I was like, really? Wait. Oh, okay, I think I might need to read the book. Slow down.
You will have to read the book. I wanted to introduce Bunny White because she's like she's the white rabbit. And you know, in Alice in Wonderland, which is where this book is inspired, the white rabbit is what attaches Wonderland to the real world. And so by introducing her as the character, Bunny White, you've got a little bit of White Rabbit. And as she's going to sleep, is that her falling down
the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
I love it, which is really funny because I always tell people I feel like the white rabbit. I'm late. It's for a very important date. I don't know what the date is, but I'm always late. They're like, you need some help, girl. So going with that, inspiration, Alice in Wonderland. Why? How do you come up with this? What is this? Talk to me.
So there are many different ways of how this book came to be. One.
I'm listening.
Okay. So one, I was basically just listening to jazz music, which is something I do often, and I came across Alice by Tom Waits.
Okay.
I know, it's a great song. You gotta listen to it. It's really, really, it just gets to your soul.
You have me going. I'm like, how are we gonna tie this up? Because okay, continue, please.
While I was listening to this song, I instantly had, the way I picture writing books is like a movie. Okay?
Me too. Thank you. Yeah. I feel so much better.
You're watching a movie. So in my head, I'm watching this movie, and I'm listening to this song, and in this song, I've got this black and white scene, kind of maybe a little sepia in there somewhere. But you've got this woman. She's at the docks. She's wearing a trench coat. She's wearing a fedora. She's got blonde hair, red lips. Why is she at the docks? a murder. So I'm like, yeah, okay, so let's evolve it around there. And I started with the murder scene and her being at the docks. And then I vamped it into, okay, well, her name is Alice. Why not just make it Alice in Wonderland?
I love it.
So
okay.
I took the story of Alice in Wonderland and it's influence. It's not actually the story. It doesn't follow the same pattern. But what I did do was I used the titles of Alice in Wonderland. I used the same titles except for twisted them a little bit.
So your chapter titles are still within that same premise,
Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
And every now and then you might get like a quote here and there that is similar to Alice in Wonderland. And also some of the characters you'll start to realize who they are. Like Caterpillar is Cats Are Pillar.
That is so cute.
Yep. And he kind of talks the same way in riddles like your regular caterpillar would, and and it's a fun Alice in Wonderland infused murder mystery.
I love the fact of who you made her assistant to be.
Yeah.
And the little hints of like, and he smiled. I was like, ooh, look at that. So I like those touches. I like the fact that we started in chapter 2.
Yeah.
So it became kind of interesting because I'm going, what's going on?
Well, the chapter 1 is very interesting because it sets the tone of kind of who she is. Mm-hmm. You meet Alice in chapter 1, which, it's awesome because you see that she's kind of this really strong, powerful woman. And she's obsessed. Yeah. She's obsessed with her job. And that's like the main thing is there is love out there and there's love that she could embrace. But her love for her job is much more stronger. So
it has that flavor. I like the detective scene, but I also like there's this quirkiness and play to it that is fabulous. And that's just in one chapter. I was like,
oh yeah, it's a lot of dry humor. There's a lot of dry humor in it.
So tell me, what is the premise? You tell me a little bit of fun detective story, murder mystery. So are you looking into a series, or is this a one standalone kind of book? What do we got here?
No, it's actually a series. I've just finished, I guess not finished. It's never finished. A book is never finished. I'm working on my last chapter of my next book in the series. Alice is still the detective solving mysteries, but she is joined, and I'm calling it Belle and the Beast. Belle in the Beast.
So we're going to take other
yeah.
Okay, other fairy tales, other stories, and play with them.
I wanted to say they're Disney, but they're not Disney. They're more Grimm fairy tales twisted, so it's like a mixture of Disney stories. It's Grimm fairy tales.
This is a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's fairy tales is what it is, and a mixture of those included with murder mysteries.
I like the twist into a murder mystery because normally you see them retell, but they're still within the same premise of the fairy tale. This is very action-oriented.
Right.
So it has a flavor. So tell me, what message do you want your readers to get out of this?
That women are strong.
I love it.
I that's the main thing, that women, they aren't these damsels in distress. And all of the characters, all the females characters, they're not damsels in distress. They are strong women, and they are goal-oriented. No matter if they're
a lot of women are today, let's be honest.
If they're a hero or a villain, they are goal-oriented and they're strong women.
That is a beautiful message, and it's something that we can take very easily across.
Right.
Which sometimes I think we take for granted. We want every character to either be good or bad.
Right.
There's no shades in between, and you're going, I don't know about that. Let's give this
and of course, like in the 40s, it was a big thing that women settle down. They have a husband, they have children, they be at home, and take care of their husband's stuff. So this is definitely a slap in the face of that. Women don't have to do this. They can run their own companies and they can do their own thing. See, like Bella is a reporter. She's my next character. She's a reporter. And being a reporter, she is all about prospering as a newscaster and learning, getting the story as opposed to being at home and,
so what
being
setting?
Family.
Are we looking at current times? Are we looking 1940s? What is
it? It is 1940s.
This is controversial.
This probably starts at like 1939 and kind of moving up to probably 1945 is where I'm going to. So like in that time frame.
I like the time frame.
Yeah.
It's a little bit almost alternative history. Like
a little bit.
You're playing in this whole setting of like, I'm liking the mix of a genre.
There is a lot of history, though, because in Alice in Underville, there is a moment, and there's many, many moments about where I plunge in history, because, I'm a history major, so I got my degree in history.
Beautiful.
So I had to plug in some history stuff, but there's a moment whenever they found fingerprints, and they have to do, how did they get fingerprints? And I had to research, how did they have a fingerprinting system? They literally had a guy in a closet who had a magnifying glass and a codex of fingerprints, and they would actually go through the criminals that they would have already on file. So there was a fingerprinting system in the 1940s.
Has it changed much now? Because I went to police.
There's at least, I know, they still make you print it.
I was like, have we actually
Sometimes
evolved?
they're digital, but it's, depending on where you're at.
They might not be in a closet anymore, but I'm like, has technology finally, being CSI? Because it takes a lot more than, 45 minutes. I was like,
Yeah, it takes a minute. But I was impressed with the fact that they've had this for so long.
It's not new technology.
Yeah.
This is something that we have been doing.
We've just been adapting it.
I love it. History. You're adding history. You talked about research. How much research do you do for your books?
Oh, there was tons for this one. Alice in Underville, since it was one in the 1940s, the main part of research that I had to do with this one was slang. The language.
What's appropriate?
Yes. What can I say? What can I not say? How do they say that? And, there's so many slang words in 1940s, especially when you're writing a detective story, or what they call a hard-boiled novel. And the thing about it is, you have a hard-boiled novel, and then you have the actual what happened in 1940s. Now, when you do the hard-boiled, it's that narrative kind of topic. And I had never written anything in first person before. So that was an experience all in its own.
Did you like it?
I did. I ended up liking it. It's a
You
little
said you
different.
ended up liking it. It took you a while.
Oh, yeah. It was such a struggle, because I would be writing it and I'd be getting excited, and all of a sudden I realized, oh no, I'm telling a story. Delete.
You go from back. The outside world, and you're like, oh wait, she's supposed to be talking.
Yep.
Let me bring you back.
Yep. And also when you do that, and especially with hard-boiled novels, it's the present and past tense. That got me a lot, having to go back to present tense, because it's in the 1940s. It's happening right now. She's going through this process, and she wakes up and she has amnesia. So that's right off the bat, you realize this. And so she can't think and she can't talk as if she's already done this before. So there's that too. There was a lot of research going into this one, having to figure out exactly sentence structure, from that to figuring out what slang words are appropriate to use, to how the style was, what would she wear, what would she drink.
Layers.
Tons.
We got layers on layers of creating a universe.
Yep. And that's another thing. I'm really big on world building. And so with world building, there are tons of different, I call it a tree. It's just a tree of information that you have to go through. Yeah, because you've got this branch, this branch, this branch, but then on that you have different twigs, and then you have different leaves, and there's so much more.
Got some flowers here and there.
Yeah,
to add to complex. I like that. Just toss in some flowers. What's your target audience for this?
It is, I would say it's young adult. There's no heavy, fornication or anything going on, but there's a few cuss words, nothing too bad. But it's young adult.
It's very appropriate, because to this day, some of our kids probably have a much more vocabulary than the rest of us. I'm like, whoa.
Yep.
Where's your parents? Are you supposed to tell me this?
Watch your language.
I know.
Watch
every once in a while, she's like, I feel old. When did this happen? What did you say?
Yep.
Do I need to talk to you about this? So young adult, I love it. We're looking high school and up.
Anybody who loves detective novels. So there's not really an age geared toward it, because I followed Raymond Carver and his outline of what you would have as a hard-boiled novel.
Okay.
So if you're okay with your kids reading about murder, this would be it.
You will be okay with this book.
Yeah.
So as long as you have that. I found out that a lot of adults enjoy young adult.
Yes.
It is something about you're taking some of the sex, you take some of the gruesome violence, and you have some amazing stories.
Yep.
Granted,
there's also more that leaves in the imagination.
It does.
And so you get to play with the imagination more.
And the colorful details to bring them to life kind of gives you this whole element that you're like, it's so much fun.
Yep.
Tell me, how long have you been writing for?
Oh God, years. Years. This is the first full novel that I have published under me. I've done ghostwriting in the past. In fact, I started ghostwriting back in 2015.
Ghostwriting sounds really exciting.
I know, it's really not.
Like,
but it sounds exciting, but it's not.
Like
Basically somebody would give me an idea that you know how you have those friends. Oh, could you write my book for me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or my life is really exciting. You should write me a book.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't think you're talking to the right person, but okay, continue.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen.
So you probably still get a whole bunch of those requests.
Oh yeah, I do. I still have a couple of Fiverr accounts out there where somebody's like, hey, I need someone, they pay me to write their book. Like they have the idea, they have an outline. So I just, put the filler in the words.
Pretty much the meat and potato of it.
Yeah,
We got you covered.
Yeah, I'll put you in a little side of sweet potatoes. Yeah, they do.
Okay, good.
They still have to go through beta reading and they still have to go through everything else. I just do the actual writing process for them. It's usually people. The ones that I've written in the past is like short reads, 2-hour reads, 1 hour. This is a 2-hour read actually. The Faye James one is Alice in Underville is a 2-hour read. So it's just quick and short and sweet.
To the point, give you a taste of something fun and exciting. I
Yes.
like the fact that you said it's fun.
That's
I'm all
it.
about
It's
this.
just fun.
Let's have some fun with this. It's awesome. So are you traditionally published or are you self-published?
I am self-published.
What made you decide to be self-published?
Well, for the most part, I realized, okay, I went to DFW Con in 2017, 16, and I did the whole trying to publish this one. Not really. I sent out a query letter here and there, got rejected, and then, of course, I had a couple of I did the query sessions, where you go and you talk to an agent, and they give you advice, and, oh, send this to me, and whatever, and I did that. And I got a couple of response, hey, I really wanted to publish your book, and they gave me stuff, and they list things about what you need or what they're going to do, which means, we're going to send this to publishing, we're going to send this to whatever, and you get this much money. And I'm like, but what if I don't want that?
What if my idea is a little different than
Exactly. And so I realized that that's not exactly what I want. Plus, I only get the royalties and the bonus that they give me. So why not have full control over it myself? I have the digital graphics experience and I have some marketing experience. I could just do it myself. So
You sound like your characters, a woman in control.
Exactly.
I was like, wait. I think I can do this. Hold up. What are we talking about?
Yeah. So I did a lot of research. So a couple of people that I started following on YouTube, Jenna Morisi and Kristen Martin, and a few others, and then realized, I can definitely do this on my own. So I did.
That. Powerful. So as a writer, who inspired you?
My mother.
Tell me about it.
Oh, I love the woman.
That's a good thing because she's your mom.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
But it's like she's also my best friend,
That is so sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's my best friend. But she's also my boss on everything, if that makes sense. Even though I'm the one who published it. Yeah. Even though I published it on my own and I did all the work and everything, she was the one keeping me on schedules. And hey, have you done this yet? Have you done that yet? And
you have your own personal assistant.
I do. Well, I would say that it's reversed, but
let's call it that way. It makes it sound a lot more exciting. It's like, and a personal assistant. She's a little bossy, but still,
exactly
personal assistant.
Yeah.
She was there for me.
Yeah, and she everything that I've ever written in my life goes through her first before I send it out to the world. So she edits things, and she's an avid reader. So I was inspired by her to the beginning because she reads so much that she's so knowledgeable in my eyes, so.
She has a taste for what's going on and she understands it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So what is your definition of success?
My definition of success, smiling at something you're passionate about.
Okay, you have to explain that one. I'm like,
okay.
How does that work?
So that feeling when you've accomplished something and you smile about it? It's like that. It is that feeling of knowing I did something that I've never done before.
You took the leap.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember whenever Faye James finally got on Google Books. You search for it, and you never find it at first. And then all of a sudden, somebody's like, oh, I'll just type in what is the book under? And I'm like, oh, it's just under Faye James, under Alice in Underville. It's, it's on Amazon. Just go to Amazon and look for it. Well, they didn't do that. They searched for it through Google Books. And they're like, oh, this is you? And I looked at it and I was like, hold on.
Double take.
Wait a minute. That's my book. I panicked. I just flipped out when I saw my name on Google Books. It was in red and it was there. Happened. It just happened. Yes. Like Google was like, it was like a validation. You know?
It's real.
Yeah. It's like I did it. Like I don't know where this came from. I don't know who in God's creation decided to put it on Google Books, but I'm so glad they did.
All the stars aligned. I understand.
Yeah.
And all you can do like, this just happened.
Yeah. And what the funny part about it is I'm pretty sure after it I realized, oh, as soon as it's on Amazon for a certain amount of time and because it's under the book and if you have so many sales, like 10 sales, it becomes something. But I was like, I'm taking it as a win.
Listen, not everybody has 10 sales. Do not downplay this. This is all exciting things. So enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
So what is one of your biggest challenges?
Procrastination.
Really?
Yeah.
You're this ball of energy. I'm like, you procrastinate.
Oh, so much. It's so bad.
Is it for everything or just certain things?
It's everything. No.
How do you conquer that? Now we have to talk about this.
Let's see. Okay,
like,
conquering it. I conquer it with a nice cup of British breakfast and some Twizzlers. Sometimes.
I like the combination. You would never see it coming.
Yep.
I was like,
that's my go-to writing stuff. So when it comes to my writing or getting things edited or stuff, I have to have my British breakfast cup with a little bit of silk and honey. And then I have a whole huge case of Twizzlers and just get it done. Before I could lock myself in my room and just like get at it, but now it's kind of in between naps for my baby.
Babies would do that to you. So
yeah.
I like the fact that you have in between naps.
Oh yeah.
I appreciated you very much. Like, becomes a little challenging, but it's happening.
Yeah. And besides the sign of the times now, it's being able to stay at home helps too. Another way I do conquer procrastination is I have a bullet journal. And I am avid bullet journal.
What is a bullet journal?
It's just basically, you know, those notebooks. It's like about yay big, and it's got dots.
Okay.
Or a grid. Some people use grid. I decorate it myself and create calendars, and lists, and habit trackers, and mood trackers, and everything in it.
Extremely visual and creative.
Yeah.
In everything.
Yeah. And so because I put effort into it, it makes me want to work on it. So I have a calendar that is detailed down to like the 30 minutes or every 15 minutes. So it tells me what I'm supposed to be doing at what times, and that usually keeps me on task.
I love it. It's a really awesome way to overcome writer's block.
Yeah.
Like, we got things
Sorta.
to do.
Well, see, I took a note, and I'm always name dropping. I took a note from Stephen King. If you ever read his biography it's called On Writing.
Okay, I need to put that down. I was
yeah.
like,
He talks about how how his writing process. One of the things he mentions is he writes 2,000 words first thing he does in the morning. That's what he does. He wakes up, 2,000 words. So I started doing that, and that works some of the times. Maybe 2 or 3 days a week I get to do that. But being able to sit down when it's quiet in the house and there's nothing going on, people are still asleep, I can write.
It's your space.
Yeah.
It's your feng shui coming all together.
Yep. And it has to be in the morning because, at night, I'm tired. I'm like, I don't even want to look at a laptop. I'm done.
I am a morning person, so I completely understand.
Yep.
After 5 o'clock, I tell everybody, I'm officially saturated. Shh.
Yep.
You're not getting any work today, so it's okay.
Yep.
So I love it. So tell me, what are your biggest lessons learned?
Read the fine text. That's number one.
That sounds like something happened.
Oh my gosh, yeah. When I published this one, it was right when they did the conversion from CreateSpace to Kindle.
Oh, that was painful.
It was. Were you part of that group too?
Yes,
like
it was
just rough. Oh, goodness gracious. And then, of course, I'm glad I did my own digital because everybody apparently who had their digital done with them, it ended up being messed up or came back messed up or whatever. I don't know.
Mine flew pretty well. My first book went really well. I ended up doing some cover changes, but it didn't have that much of a transition. What I realized is CreateSpace kind of spoiled me.
Yeah, it did.
It was a blessing and a curse because book 2 ended up being book 1.
Yep.
So I really I had to learn lessons in book 2. I'm like, I was supposed to learn that
back then.
I have a book. This is not working out. So I felt like I was behind the power curve of my own power curve. I was like,
yeah.
I don't think I like this anymore. So
Yep.
that became a painful. So okay.
Yeah, it happens. And,
I like reading
it's
the
been a
fine
work
print.
project. So fine print, definitely that.
What else?
Let's see, something else that I have learned, I guess. Trust yourself.
I like it. How does it work for you?
I always overanalyze everything. And if I leave it up to me, I'm going to constantly edit and edit and edit. That's why it's taking me almost a full year before I get the second book out. I haven't even put in my dates of possibilities of it being published yet because I'm still editing.
Eventually has to get done.
Exactly.
Okay. So just making sure you realize there's no such things as perfection.
Exactly.
You
just got to throw it out there,
eventually give us
I need
something.
to trust myself more, and so that's where that comes in. I got to finally just be able to say, okay,
I'm there.
It's done. Let's go with it.
If you have to come back, you can. Let's get a book, because I'm pretty sure people are going. So when is the book coming?
Yep.
And they say really
and that
nicely.
happens.
It's like really sweet. It's like, I really love your stuff. So
when's your next book coming?
Yes.
When's the next book?
Anytime they tell you that, you know it's coming. It's like, oh, that one.
That one.
That's coming.
Yeah. But of course, I've been working on multiple other projects, so it's just been everything's just been pushing and pushing. So the procrastination comes in along with it. You know, when you get things
Exhaustion.
piled up. Yeah.
Can
So
you
finally,
tell us a little bit of other projects? What else you got going on? Do
Oh,
tell, because
okay.
I'm curious. I'm like, tell us about this.
So I finished another book. I've got like literally 3 that I'm just editing. And this one is bigger. This one's way bigger than any of the other ones. I'm calling it Knight's Heir. And Knight with a K. And the thing about that one, the reason I haven't been kind of ready to push that one, it's so cliche. Have you ever heard of that? It's so cliche.
You have tropes in there. You have some tropes, but do they work?
There's a lot of them.
That's the question.
Some of them do. Yeah, I agree. Some of them do.
If they're working, because remember, I was told once, there's nothing new under the sun, but can you make it fun?
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
So don't feel like, well, I have nothing to say. You always have a take, and can you make it fun?
I like that.
'Cause
I like that.
we
Well,
all-
yeah, this is a fun world. It's a worldwide of fun. It's a roller coaster of emotion, is what
we're
it
ready.
is. Yeah, it's a roller coaster of emotion. So I'm that one's probably the closest to being published.
The closest that you're ready to let it go.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me. Like,
Yeah,
this
that's
baby-
that one's almost ready. I still need to go through maybe 1 round of beta readers and then send it to the editor, but I think it'll be golden
we're
soon.
officially ready to commit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can deal with this.
And on top of that, working on the website to do blog posts on writing, that kind of thing.
I have a lot of going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough time to procrastinate.
Yes.
You have a lot of stuff going on.
Yes. And plus school, I went back to get my master's, and I'm working on getting a degree in or certification in education. So there's that too.
And not to mention, we just have a little baby. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of like,
I just got everything. I've got my hand in a whole bunch of pots.
I'm glad how you're like, and I just had this little child, the usual thing. It's okay. I'm like, I'm tired.
You would think so. Like and there are days, don't get me wrong, there are days when I'm exhausted. But it's like before I had James, I was a really bad procrastinator, and I didn't want to do everything. I just put everything in the side, and sometimes I forgot about projects altogether. But since I had him, it's like my whole life has changed and morphed, and I'm like, oh, I need to get stuff done. So in a year, I have written over 120,000 word book. I have written another one that's about maybe 60 to 80,000. Just got to dwindle down a little bit more. I have worked on a whole blog that I've been trying to post on stuff, and I'm still doing ghostwriting as well on the side. So I've got projects, but they're getting done. And I never in my years thought that would happen.
Some people say we need a structure in life. Your child has become your structure.
I do believe that's true.
And the fact that you have to work around nap times, you have to become super productive.
Exactly.
Because naps only last about an hour.
That's so true.
So
that's
you are
true.
officially the epitome of an indie author on crack.
I
How
am.
much stuff can we fit in this blog?
hour?
Because that's all we got. I love it. This is amazing. I'm going to say, see, I don't feel so bad. All these people making fun of me. You officially do more than I do. I'm excited. We're golden. So, do you have a favorite book?
Oh my goodness, Alice in Wonderland. The only reason I say that because I read it every year for my birthday. It became something I did with my family, back when I was a kid. So it just kind of kept with me. It's one of my favorite books, which is why I wrote the book. But
Homage to Alice. I like it.
I love Alice. The story of Alice in Wonderland is just always captivating to me. Another book that I am obsessed with is Harry Potter. Of course, I'm a Potterhead. Can you tell by my glasses?
I was not going to point it out. So we're having, our local theater is having a Potter Day here coming up.
I heard of it.
I think it's June. It's June. So I'm planning to get tickets because I'm with you. I was like, Granted, I was like, I need to bring some kids because then I don't want to be the weird guy. I don't want to be the weird person there.
I already know. I already know that there are going to be a whole bunch of adults in there just hanging out.
In case you're wondering, my friend is coming. She has 2 girls. So I was like, so
what can we do?
I was like, will you be interested in coming to the theater with me? She's like, what have you seen? Harry Potter? She's like, what? I was like, gotta bring the girls. Like,
just bring the kids.
Yes.
It's okay.
We need social validation, and it can't just be the 2 of us. Like, so we need you to bring some kids with you, and it'll be okay.
Yep.
So amazing. Tell me, if you could give one piece of advice to an upcoming author, what would it be?
Write. Like, literally write. So many people are like, oh, I can write a book. I'll write a book. It's fine. I could write a book one day. You'll never be able to write a book unless you put the words on paper. Literally, if you have writer's block, if you have, you don't know what to write about, you're just staring at a blank page, write anything. Just spend time writing every day. Just writing words on paper is what you'll get to page 2. If you can accomplish page 1, you'll get to page 2. And that's how it works. So just write.
That is a beautiful advice. And I don't think people actually understand the practicality of it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes everybody talks about it. And most people spend a lot of time creating characters.
Yep.
Or creating a world. Mm-hmm. And
point case.
It's awesome, but it's very addicting.
It is.
You can get lost in that.
That's what happened to J.K. Rowling. See, there I go name dropping again.
It's a great example. You can get lost in creating characters and world, and you never have a book.
She spent years before she was able to write anything. Like, she had pages and pages of drawings and pieces, but she never really put it together until she was like hit rock bottom, and then poof, she had a book.
Sometimes you go and you have to hit rock bottom to go up.
That's true.
So so I know a lot of people who actually are very much into, they have to have millions of stuff before they can get started.
Yep.
It's almost paralysis by like fact finding. Eventually just start.
You just gotta go for it. And I wish I could take my own advice sometimes, so, So
it's coming, because right now I'm like, I think you have. I think you figure it out. It's like, we got a baby, we got stuff to do, let's make it happen.
Let's go.
So, are you ready for our lightning round?
Okay, shake it off, shake it off.
This is it.
All right, here we go.
Absolutely, don't think too much about it. There is no warning. You haven't seen these questions before. And I don't guarantee that they'll make a lot of sense.
Okay.
It's just warning you. So you ready?
All right.
Number 1, sweet or sour?
Sweet.
Okay.
Love sweet.
So, if you had a warning label, what would it be?
Oh my goodness. Danger. Will Robinson. No, I'm just kidding. Danger. Super fun and odd.
That's an awesome warning label and a great combination.
I'm
I
odd.
like it. So, you do a little bit of fairy tales, so this is right up your alley. So
Okay.
I thought you might enjoy this. If you could be a Disney princess, which one would you be?
Oh, hands down, Belle.
Really?
Yeah, I know you'd probably expect me to say like Alice or like, what is it, Prince Tiana or whatever. No,
I was thinking Mulan.
Really?
I was seeing you with
I
a
could have
sword.
said that. I could have said that.
I was thinking, I'm like, I can see you with Mulan. You'd be that one. I was like, so we're going to war. I got the horse. Let's go.
I like Belle though. Belle, not only is she an avid reader, but she's also very strong-willed. Like, she did not take no for an answer. She was very kind, and even in the Grimm fairy tales, even though she became the beast, fell into the beast pattern, it took a while before he fell in love with her and she was able to say, I love you. You can love me all you want, but I love you now, so I have the say. So she had more control.
Powerful woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because you don't really see her in that presence because she is so adorable and everything, but she's still very powerful.
Exactly.
Yep, definitely. You're definitely Belle. There's nothing you can do. So this is about your book.
Okay.
If your book had a theme song, what would it be?
Alice by Tom Waits.
When I talked about it, I was like, okay, I should have given you a harder one.
I know.
So, think about this one. DC or Marvel?
Oh, that's so hard. Okay, let me explain why this is hard. Okay, I love Marvel for Deadpool and Deadpool only.
That's so specific. I was like,
Yeah, because I love Deadpool. Other Marvel people, they're okay. But Deadpool is like my favorite. But I love the DC world with the exception of the Dawn of Justice Now. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Strange. Because I'm a superhero fanatic, period.
So we're going into the superhero. Which one is your favorite? Is it Deadpool? Is he technically a superhero? Is he an anti-hero? What is he? Favorite comic book superhero?
He would probably be the anti-hero. But, okay, so if I were to pick the anti-hero, it'd probably be Deadpool. Favorite superhero of all time, though, is The Flash, which is why I said DC. The Flash is my favorite.
Why?
Because he's super fast, but he's also kind.
He's adorable.
He is. He's just adorable. I love what the CW interpretation for him is great. But I also grew up with the comic books with my dad. And so we grew up loving The Flash together. He loved The Flash. Flash Gordon, so,
Absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
So here's your last one. I don't know if you're into sci-fi.
Yes,
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Ooh, Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You like the new movie?
I do.
Okay.
I still... I need to catch up on Mandalorian, but the new Star Wars, I like them a lot.
I had to not do that because everybody asked, "Are you hooked?" I was like, "I'm supposed to write."
Yeah.
Like there's a book supposed to come out.
Yeah, I don't have time to watch TV right now. No binge watching for me yet.
Yeah. So I think that would be a summer thing when I decide I need a month off that I don't come up with master projects.
Yeah.
But yes, my brother keeps teasing me. He's like, "So did you see it?" I was like, "If you talk to me one more time, I might be an only child because 2 of you would die today."
There you go. There you go.
Getting this. So, Miss Faye James, Miss Jordan, you are absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Such a lovely afternoon.
It's been great talking to you.
I'm so glad you came by.
Me too.
Even though my little cat child thinks he's in charge, there's nothing I can do about this.
I love it.
Where can we find you? Where can our listeners find you?
Okay. Well, Alice in Underville is on Amazon. Woohoo. And you can search for Amazon on, Google, and you'll find it. Haha. It's Faye James, Faye, F-A-E. I'm also on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
So, Faye James is all you got to look for.
That is fabulous. Anything else you want to say to our listeners who I'm sure had a blast listening to you and hanging out with us as much as I have?
Have fun and keep dreaming.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. I hope everybody enjoyed as much as I have. Thank you for being inside the minds of authors, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.